What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how Carson's A Great Chaos has put Opium back on track leading up to their tour. Last Friday, Carson's A Great Chaos came out, and it was received extremely well by most fans. Most people that listened to it left this album absolutely loving it. Some fans were going crazy, calling it Album of the Year, 10 out of 10, perfect project, best project ever released ever. And actually, this album was leaked a little bit before it came out officially, like I want to say a couple of days. So shout out to all the real ones who did not listen to the leak and waited till it officially came out, you know what I'm saying? So, we got to support our artists. So shout out to the real ones who didn't listen to the leak, because I was one of those people. But it's funny because when the leak came out, a lot of people were saying they were initially very disappointed. Now, I have not checked the leak, so maybe some stuff is different. Maybe there's, other songs that got cut or got added. I have no idea, but it's very interesting to see people say initially that the leak wasn't all that good, and now everyone's saying the album's fantastic. So yeah, everyone seems to be enjoying this album, and I'll just give like a real short review, nothing too in deep or too thorough. I'm high on this album, but I'm nowhere near as high as like a lot of other fans are on this album. Like a lot of fans are calling it immediately Album of the Year. It's the best album that's ever been released from an Opium artist, obviously excluding Cardi. It's just one of the best albums of the last couple of years. I've even seen some people say that it's better than Whole Lotta Red. I saw people saying this the first day it came out, which I just thought was crazy. But overall, people are very high on it. I would say I'm pretty high on it as well, just not that high on it. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe even like a 7.5, somewhere around that range. The production on this album is absolutely insane. And don't get me wrong, Carson also has great performances, but I think the production might just be the highlight on the album. In terms of stuff I didn't like, there was only like a couple of songs overall that I'm like, just not really feeling. And that was towards the middle of the project. I feel like some of the songs in the middle of the project kind of lost me a little bit, but overall at the end he kind of brings it back around. And specifically the first 4 songs on the project are absolutely fire. Like those are the best songs on the project in my opinion. Those first 4 leading off the album is just I don't know what else I can really say about them. To have those as the first 4 songs on this project just starts it off with an absolute bang. Like it's actually insane to start off a project with Green's Room, Jennifer Body, Fighting My Demons, and then Singapore. Like that's an amazing start to a project. And also, this is 1,000% performing music. This is the exact type of music that Opium needed leading into their tour, which is coming up at the beginning of 2024. The album is also on pace to sell somewhere around 45K first week, which is a huge W for someone like Carson. Sales overall are kind of down right now, so to see somebody like Carson almost hit 50K first week, that's super impressive. And for reference, that would mean he's going to outsell Coi Leray's last project, Kodak Black's last project, and even crazier, Trippie Redd's last project. So these are absolutely massive numbers, and it just shows that Carson and Opium as a whole, but specifically Carson, is just continuing to grow pretty much by the day, with who knows what the end in sight will be. I don't see an end at the moment, but it just goes to show that they're consistently growing, specifically Ken. And this is also great for the tour because Opium didn't really have a lot of momentum up until this point. There wasn't really a lot going on. The last project released from Opium was in May, and that was If Looks Could Kill by Destroy Lonely, which, I mean, it wasn't like a trash project, but it wasn't, received with a lot of fanfare. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is the best project ever. There wasn't a lot of crazy hype surrounding it, especially hype to carry Opium all the way from May into January. So this is a breath of fresh air that Opium desperately needed going into this tour. And also, Homicide Gang just released a single that wasn't very good. So there was just not a lot of momentum for Opium at the moment until this project dropped. And they really especially needed this start of momentum, this kind of rolling of the ball beginning, because the venues that they're going to be playing in are massive. They're all NBA-sized arenas that seat like 14 to 20,000 people. And they've never performed in these size arenas until now. So this is something that they desperately needed. They desperately needed some momentum, some hype, something to really get people to buy tickets. Because at the moment, what are you going to go buy tickets for? You've already seen Ken perform his last project. If Looks Could Kill, Destroy Lonely's been performing it here and there. Playboi Carti's performed A Whole Lotta Red 40 times at this point. He's gone on tour with it twice. He's been performing it for 3 straight years. There wasn't a lot that really made people have to go buy tickets. Like, of course, people want to see Cardi, people want to see Ken, people want to see Lone, people want to see Homicide Gang. But there was nothing that made you have to go see it up until this point. Now people want to go see Carson perform this new album. They have to go hear Jennifer's Body at a concert. So you get what I'm saying? So now there's some sort of want for the fans to have to go and buy these tickets. Before that, there was nothing. But I will say this album alone isn't enough to sell out NBA arenas. This isn't enough. We need a Cardi release. There has to be a Cardi album because they are not going to sell out these 20,000 sized venues every single night in a whole bunch of different cities in America without Cardi releasing a new album. They're not, maybe in LA, Atlanta, New York, okay, you might be able to get 20,000 just based off Playboi Carti alone and Opium, right? The collective. But if you're going to Salt Lake City and then Denver, and these types of cities, and then Kansas City, like, are you really going to be able to sell out 20,000 seats consistently with Whole Lotta Red that's been performed for the last 3 years now? I don't know. I doubt it. So that's why I'm saying this album alone isn't enough to just sell all these 16,000 new tickets or whatever it is because they're in so much bigger venues than they were last time they were on tour. It's not enough. It is great. It does help and it gets the ball rolling, but it can't be the sole reason that fans are supposed to buy tickets. It just can't. But as a whole, I think this album was supposed to serve the role of getting things started, getting the ball rolling, and kind of throwing up a nice, slow pitch for Playboi Carti to absolutely knock out of the park, hit a crazy home run with his project. Because as much as we love Ken Carson, we know that Playboi Carti is the ticket seller. He is. He's the guy that you put on the headline that gets people buying tickets. So this was kind of him getting the conversation started, Ken Carson busting the door down, and then everybody can fill in after. Carti, here's a nice, slow pitch with a lot of air underneath it. I just need you to hit this home run, which you probably will do if you end up dropping a project before this tour starts. Ken Carson and this project, A Great Chaos, are kind of like the catalyst to an explosion. They're not the explosion themselves, but they're what starts it. It's kind of like Mentos and a Coke bottle. Ken Carson dropping A Great Chaos was kind of like the action of dropping the Mentos into the Coke bottle. And then the explosion that comes after it is all the stuff that's going to follow it up leading into this tour. But this was desperately needed from the Opium Collective, and I think they got exactly what they could have wanted and even more from Ken Carson dropping this project. It was a great release. People love it, and it's going to help build a lot of momentum leading into this tour in the beginning of 2024. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe this project was trash and nobody's going to the tour regardless, and Playboi Carti's trash as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the end of my video. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, do all that. It helps me out a ton. Have a great day. Be safe, be blessed. Peace.